Jams, jams, jams. Picture books and jams. Welcome, everybody, to PBJamz. Music and picture books, what a perfect sandwich. Squish them all together, what a yummy snack. PBJamz, yummy books and music. PBJamz, reading, writing, teaching. PBJamz, what a yummy treat. Jamming PBs all the time. PBJamz, songish books and bookish songs. Tips for music teachers, interviews and book reviews. A little singing and dancing. PBJamz, yummy books and music. PBJamz, reading, writing, teaching. PBJamz, what a yummy treat. Jamming PBs all the time. PBJamz.
Okay, good morning or good afternoon or good evening whenever you are joining us for PBJamz. Thank you so much for being here with us. And I'm here with Jessica Kulekjian today and her beautiful book, First Notes of Spring. You can see it here behind me and behind her as well. And this book was illustrated by Jennifer Bauer and published by Bloomsbury Children's. And it's a brand new book. And it's a perfect book to dig into the spring season that is knocking on our doors right now. So help me welcome Jessica. And thank you so much for joining us.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. It was a very quick yes when you asked about PBJamz. Like this book is totally meant for this because there's lots of music.
There is a lot of music, and Jessica and I were just talking about the fact that I have it in my music classroom. In fact, that's how I ordered it, and I'm going to be using it in the next couple of weeks. So I hope that you'll have a chance to use it as well. So we're going to chat with Jessica a little bit about the book, and then down below in the blog post, I'm going to link up so much good content for you guys about how you can use it in your regular classroom. If you're teaching music like me, how you can use it there. If you have writing prompts, if you're a writer, we have writing prompts for you, and there's going to be some author tips straight from Jessica. So be sure to check out all the content below, and we're excited to get started. So Jessica, talk to us a little bit about the inspiration for this book. How did it come to be?
Sure. Well, I'm a teacher, and one of my favorite things about being a teacher is that I think that I'm like one of the biggest learners in the room. I learn right alongside my students, and learning is super fascinating to me because everybody approaches learning content differently. And for example, like teaching a math problem, I have kids that arrive at the solution in different ways. And I love that. And I love to give them, the chance to be the mathematician in the room and share their thinking of how they arrived at it. And, but when I was a kid, I don't remember there being that much of an openness for approaching problems in different ways. Like, for example, borrowing and carrying was just taught in this one algorithm, but now we show kids like ways to do it with manipulatives and ways to use number bonds and ways to use place value charts. And we just open it up and honor and are in awe of all the different ways of thinking about solutions, not just for math, but with everything. And so I just really love the learning process. I think it's similar to the creative process. And I just love witnessing that in kids and in people in general and in myself. And so this story is about a character that, wants to do things a little bit differently. And so that's a little bit about like my background of where I came from approaching this. But the actual like nuts and bolts of what, like the day I started writing it had to do with, I actually saw a piece of art from a local friend that was creating nursery art. She has like a Etsy store and was creating nursery art. And she had this little parade of animals in the forest, and there was a fox. And I want to say all the animals had nature-made instruments, and the fox was leading the parade. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, oh, that's kind of cute. I wonder like what the story is of those animals. And so it was just like a little writing prompt I gave myself. And so I just started writing one day about this story about this little fox and leading this parade through the forest. And then that ended up morphing as I realized I wanted to turn this into an actual picture book manuscript. And Little Fox ended up becoming Juniper the Badger, and the story continued to evolve. This was one of those stories that I wrote in my early days of pursuing publishing. So it changed a lot over several years. It was like one of those like mentor texts for myself, because it just kept changing and I kept growing as a writer. So yeah. And also at the same time, I had a toddler that I was taking to Music Together class. I don't know if you've heard about that, but it's like a national, maybe international, really fun parent and child, or grown up and child. There was grandparents and aunts and uncles and lots of other people with their kids in those classes. And they're really fun. They're weekly classes where you come together and you create music together, and through lots of playful like rhythms and chants and nonsense words. And it's so much fun. So I was doing that a lot of the, like while I was writing this, I was going to those weekly classes with my toddler. So a lot of the sounds and sing-songy rhythm was definitely going on in my life at the time. And I'm just one of those kinds of parents that uses a lot of sing-songy jingles and stuff to get my kids' attention. Like when they were younger, I made up the buckle up song and the wash your hair song and the, of course, fall asleep lullabies and all that kind of stuff. And so we jokingly say that I inherited the jingle gene from my dad, because he used to do the same thing, just make up silly songs about whatever we're doing, like, you know, cutting an apple, whatever, just make it more fun. And I use that a lot in my class too. We sing a goodbye song, or if we have a moment where we're like stuck on something, I might just sing it in a phrase or something like that. But I only sing for kids. I don't have a singing voice that's like actually like at all great. So that's my rule. I just sing for little kids.
That's the lovely thing about kids, is they don't care. They're used to singing just because they love to sing. And so it doesn't matter how we sing when we sing with kids. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So long story short, it came from lots of places and merged together.
I love that story. That's great. And that's oftentimes how it happens with us as authors, right? Like it starts with one little seed of an idea, and then it morphs. I mean, that's a great word for it, because it just changes and shifts. And books are often shapeshifters in many ways. Yes. So you talked a little bit about the musical connections. What else can you share with us about the music in the book?
I'm going to grab the book. There's a lot. So like starting just even on the end papers, and this was a little art note that I even had in the manuscript, that the end papers would be the first note sounds and the first beat sounds coming together, so that when you close the book, they're playing together.
Love it.
So there's end papers that have, you know, music notes and some of the sounds that are going to be in the book. And then similar to that original inspiration, the animals are all playing like kind of invented and nature-made instruments. And then definitely all the sounds throughout, and the rhythmic language is another musical connection.
Yes, and the end, I think, has a special musical connection, but we won't share that here because we don't want to ruin it for anybody. No spoilers. But I love how the ending does kind of bring all that together in full circle. That's wonderful. As a music teacher, I'm excited to share it in my classroom, but I can easily see ways that teachers in regular classrooms could share it as well in other themes. So we'll share some of that below. Have you heard of teachers using it in surprising or interesting ways that maybe you didn't anticipate?
That is something I am open to surprise to find out, because it's still so new that I don't know yet about how other teachers are using it. But I'm a teacher, and so I've used it with my own students. And I actually, it was really important to me, because I am a teacher. I want all my books to have like really great extension activities and a lot of content. And so if you don't mind, I'll even just share my
absolutely, go ahead.
And I'll just show you, because I have a teacher's guide on my website. So let me try this. I'm going to share my screen.
Perfect.
And
we'll link that up below too for those of you watching.
Perfect. Yeah. So I have an activity guide button here. And for First Notes of Spring, I have this great activity guide written by Carrie Allen. She's a picture book author and a longtime educator. And I'm so grateful for her work here. It's amazing. But we've got discussion questions, writing prompts. I mean, there's so much stuff in here. There's standards aligned activities, STEM activities. And I want to get down to the bottom because there's some really great printables that you could just print and use with your students right away. So we've got beginning, middle, end things. I used this with my second graders. And there's some really great phonics activities. And then I like these writing prompts. If I were in Juniper's band, my instrument would be, or I am unique because, and this is a fun one, write about a first. So the first day of school, first missing tooth, or whatever it is. And then one surprising fun way that I've also used this with kids. I did a school visit where we made up our own band, and Jennifer Bauer made these coloring pages for each of the sounds. And so I used these coloring pages to form a big band. So like with the whole group of kids, I called up some students to be like the conductors of the Who's, and some other ones to be the conductors of the Hum Hums, and then the Ringy Rings. And so we had the whole group together, and then made a wild, fun ruckus with all the fun sounds, kind of like this page here.
Right.
And so these are really fun coloring pages that could also, be stand-ins for like helping to create some groups and then invent music together.
Love that. Love that. And I love that there are a lot of those are invented instruments. And that's one thing I know when I was in the second grade classroom, we would always have a little unit on sound music, and they would go and invent their own instruments, and they would have to give it a name. And so that's a really fun extension. I'll link some of that below too, but that's a great way to extend that book for regular classroom teachers or for music teachers, either one. So many fun ways to use this book. I can't speak highly enough. It is super, super fun. So speaking of super, super fun, what is the most super, super fun part for you? What's your favorite spread or your favorite part, or what do you think?
Actually, let me share my screen again, because I have some slides that'll probably be easier to see for the audience. So I still have it on this, but let me go over to my slides. Okay. This is one of them for that reason of introducing all the sounds. I can't tell you how much I just was in awe and shock, surprise, delight with Jennifer Bauer's illustrations, like the expression she makes on the moose's face here. And meanwhile, Juniper is just in her element, having so much fun. It just cracks me up. And I love her hand lettering that she did of all the different sounds throughout the book. She posted on Instagram that every time there was like a little edit change, and that she had to like hand draw that it was like tears. So I felt so bad when I learned that. But also, this is one of my favorite pages to read aloud.
Yeah.
Because I just think it's fun, because I made up little sounds, and I just go, whoo, whistled the flutes, hum, hum, sang the strings, and the little keys played with a ringy, ring, ring. And so I think that's fun. But also, one of my other really favorite surprises are these little keys, because when I was writing the book, I was imagining keys like a piano type of instrument. And she did literal keys hanging from a branch. And I just, right here, oops,
Oh,
I just
cool.
went out of it. Let me go back. Where am I? Da, 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 da. Nope. I went too far. There it is. Those keys right here.
I love it.
I was like, that's genius. And kids can make that instrument. Like, that's so fun. So that's one of my favorite spreads. And oh gosh, I want to show you another one. There's another one too. I laughed out loud when I saw this. The rabbits in their underground habitat here, it just cracks me up. There's just so much going on.
There is. That's precious.
Yeah, it's really fun. So I just was blown away by her illustrations. There's so many great things, and there's a lot of surprising things that I have found as I read it with kids. And for example, my youngest daughter pointed out that there's a snail on every page, and I didn't catch that at first.
Oh, fun.
There's this little snail on every page. And so that's a fun little Easter egg hunt
Yes.
to do.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that, for sure. That's always fun to be looking for those little pieces.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So is there anything so far that we haven't talked about that you really want to make sure that people know about your book?
Yes, I am really excited to share that there's a theme song, and it's so cute. Tara Trudell is a children's musician. She's also a author of picture books, and she said yes to writing the theme song for this book. This book just begged for one.
Yeah.
And what's really fun about her theme song is that it was kind of a full circle moment for us, because we're both writers in a group called 12 by 12 that is a picture book writing community. And in that community, we both joined the first year, which was back in 2017. And there's a forum where people post manuscripts that they're working on. And I posted a very early version of First Notes of Spring there. And she was one of the people that critiqued it. And we messaged back and forth, and it was just kind of fun. So then all these years later, now that it's come out, and I was looking for the theme song, she got to be paired up, and this is really fun. And this song is so delightful. I'm just charmed by it. It gets stuck in my head all the time, and
Yes.
even my kids sing it. So I'm just excited to share that. It's on YouTube, on Bloomsbury's YouTube channel. It's on my website on the homepage. It's in Tara Trudell's stuff on social media too. So,
And we're going to link it up right here as well. So you're going to get
Perfect.
to hear it. Yeah, it is absolutely delightful, and definitely an earworm. Once you hear it, it's going to be sticking around for a little while for you. It is super, super fun. Definitely one of the delights. And actually Tara's going to be on the show in April. So you guys stay tuned, and we'll get to hear more of the songs that Tara's written, as well as come back and revisit the one for First Notes of Spring, which is super, super wonderful. Man, I hate to see this come to an end. It's so much fun talking about this, but kind of let us in on what's coming for you. Do you have anything in the works that you can tell us about?
I do. I have something coming up in fall. It's called Hiders, Seekers, Finders, Keepers. And it's a book about the different ways that animals adapt. So like the hiders are the hibernators, and the seekers are the migrators, and then the finders, keepers are the different ones that find the strength within themselves or in their community to find ways to keep going.
Love that.
So that's coming out in the fall. And I just actually noticed that it's already up on all the bookseller sites, available for pre-order. So if you're already thinking about fall and you want to support that book, it's actually available now. And then in 2003, there's some more projects coming that are in the works that I'm really excited about. Maybe something that will become a PBJam is I have a little series coming when the title might change. So we'll see what happens. But right now the title is called Volcano Dance. And then there's a follow-up called Cloud Dance.
Ooh.
And it's like a personified life cycle of a volcano waking up and really moving. And then same thing with like the cloud dance. It shows the cycle of, a cloud that grows into a big thunderstorm and then everything dissipates. So it invites a lot of movement and stuff like that. So,
those all sound wonderful. Yeah, yay. That is super exciting. So more stuff to come from Jessica Kulekjian. Jessica, thank you for being here today for PBJamz. And those of you watching from home or wherever you may be watching from, thank you so much for joining us today too. And make sure you check out the tune and do a little tappity tap and clappity clap dance and singing along with Tara and the theme song and all the content linked below. And we will see you next time for PBJamz. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Jamming PBs all the time.